Hello and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. Hello, Veronica and Paula. Thank you for being here with me today. I'm so grateful, and I am apologizing for being a little bit late here, but yet I had to get myself together. It's one of those days that, the energies are changing today, I feel like a lot. So I was kind of low energy today. So I'm coming together now because I love going live. So I'm coming into my energies and I'm appreciating everybody being here. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, how is everyone doing? Are they handling all these energies okay? Because I know that we just had on the West Coast here that cyclone that they were talking about, and we didn't get hit very heavy, but yet at the same time, that's where we were at. But I want you to know that you are so loved. And my mic is not on right now, so I'm going to plug that in. I apologize. Oh, let's see here. Now can you hear me? I hope. Does that work? Can you hear me now better at least? See, I had to get myself together here. But it's one of those things that as we go forward, things are happening around us, and Mercury's in going into retrograde here, so things are kind of at a muck here. Let's see here. I'm going to make sure that my mic is working. Audio. Default to the book. Yep, it is. It is. It is. It is. Yay. Okay. So as we go forward into this dance, remembering that no matter where you're at and what you're doing, things are happening around you, things are happening for you, things are going to be negotiating with you. So, as we go forward and as we're negotiating through things, remembering that we're going to be perfectly imperfect, right? And that's who I am. I'm perfectly imperfect. Today, I was like laying on the couch going, do I really want to go live today? And I'm like going, yes, I do want to go live. No, I don't want to go live. Yes, I do want to go live. No, I don't want to go live. So here I am because I want to be someone for you. And I like to be consistent. And I got a hair in my mouth here. That, sorry, my hair's been everywhere lately. I guess I'm spreading my love. So how do you look at your life? How do you negotiate your life? Do you look at it with more positive thinking, or do you look at it with more negative thinking? Because I know for me that things have been happening that that we have to, things are being put on our plates where we have to make some personal choices here. And I know that I have a friend who, she's, I love her, and she's trying to make this decision, right? I'm not going to say what decision she has to make, but she's really trying to discern through it. And I've been on the phone with her a couple times, trying to help her discern through the truth of what she wants to do, because it's her choice. So I'm an ear to listen. I'm kind of repeating back what, like my dad did one time when I called him, and said, Dad, do I leave this man that was my first husband? And he politely repeated pretty much my life with this person. And I went, okay, yeah, I need to leave. He didn't say what his opinion was. He said what I said and had been telling him all those years. And so as you're going through making decisions in these days, remembering that you are going to be making decisions that you cannot go back on. And nor should you go back on, because they are what you've already done, right? And, as my dad said, and I've said this a couple times on the show, you made this decision now with with the information you have now. Tomorrow you're going to make other decisions that you had other information on, and you wish you would have done something different, but you can't go back and fix what you didn't do. And so with that, that's one thing that my dad always taught me is that do the better you can in the moment and don't worry about the other things. And, even buying this house that we had, I was stressed out because I had, a 4-year-old or 3-year-old and a new baby. And we were looking for a house. Mom had Lou Gehrig's disease. We needed a house that she can move into with us. And, the realtor even said, you guys are going to want to keep saying, well, there's another house, there's another house, there's another house. You have to make a decision on where you're at right now. On the houses, you have a choice because you do have a deadline. And it was like, oh. But the universe did help me make a decision with this house by giving me some moments where it was like it kind of actually was a dream. And so going into this that, sometimes we have to make decisions on where we're at. And, you know, I'm not going to go into the what happened with the presidency and all that kind of stuff, but I'm hoping though that that things have to come out in the wash and not everything was going to be, this is one thing I heard from the universe that, or my team that really on both sides there was going to be things that we were going to like about one and didn't like about one, and there was gonna be on the other side, one things we were gonna like about that person and things we weren't gonna like about that person. So it was gonna be, what is it that was gonna work out better for the universe? And that's the thing is that sometimes you have to break things apart to rebuild it. And that's one thing that, Pluto going into Aquarius is gonna be about is that reawakening of us. We've been in Capricorn for the 20 years. I guess Pluto went into Aquarius at the beginning of this year, and you notice what kind of was breaking apart at the beginning of this year. And that's the thing is that I really looked at the there I'm looking back on that time when I was looking at the beginning of this when we were in January, and I was thinking back in November here I didn't know what we were gonna be doing. I knew that things were gonna be happening, but I couldn't imagine where we would be, and that's almost a truth. We didn't think that really Trump would be our president again, right? We didn't think that things were gonna be the way that they were, in life. Like, we just had that cyclone that went through here, on the West Coast, and, it depended on where you were, it depended on what kind of damage you got. Luckily for us, our lights flickered. I went out and picked up the brush on the lawn, but we didn't get very much. Where I had a coworker that he had, 2 barbecuers that got picked up and moved. And his canopy that you put on the back of a truck got picked up. He had it on top of like, his firewood, and it got picked up and moved. And so it depended on where you're at. But that's the thing about life right now. It really depends on where you're at, depends on what your perception is, what your knowings are, what you're going to be doing. And, just like every storm, it passes. Every metaphorical storm passes. And, today was a beautiful day. And that's the thing about Washington State here that I actually love is that we can have a major snowstorm. The next 2 days are going to be beautiful. 2 or 3 days are gonna be beautiful. We can have, a rainstorm, and then we're gonna have some beautiful days after. So, it's one of those things that as we go forward into our dance of life that, we're gonna have these metaphorical storms that come through us to shift us, to shake us up, to see what we wanna have, what do we wanna keep, what do we wanna negotiate, what do we wanna be, and in that story, it's amazing what falls through and we can discern into. And as my cat here is, kind of getting bored. He's a little bit over a year old now. And it's like to walk into my spiritual room, I'm stepping over cat toys, right? I'm stepping over these things. And anybody who has animals, you know how that is, right? And it can kind of multiply and multiply and multiply. And I'm like going, okay, how is that helping me to negotiate? Because I have a gate across so the dog doesn't come and eat the cat food. How does that help me negotiate business coming in? How does that negotiate life coming in? Then that's the flow that, as we're going into this, look at your surroundings. What does your surroundings represent? Your story. What does, I finally got rid of some books that I was holding on to in the back seat of my car. Took them to the libraries to see if they wanted them. Yeah, they took some of them. The rest I'm probably going to take to the thrift store. Sometimes when we want to move forward with our energy and wanting to move through these changes that are happening, sometimes we have to look at deep into ourselves and what is the baggage that we're holding on to ourselves. And, last week I talked about how my husband wanted to move from this house, which I love this house. This is my house my dad gave me. He died about 3 years before my mom got Lou Gehrig's disease. And so, he on the other side helped get this house. And my husband was talking about moving to Idaho. And I know Veronica, you live in Idaho and you would love me to move close to you. The thing is, though, I personally don't see myself moving from Washington State. And him talking about those things and him talking about doing that was putting me into a negotiation with my body. I didn't realize it at the second. But when we are in stress, our cortisol goes up. And hi, man on the moon. Thank you for being here. And as our cortisol comes up, I was noticing, and I was like a pound a day almost. And it's not that I watch my body that close, but I was like noticing that my body was going up. And then all of a sudden, my digestive system got messed up with eating something. And it was like, I guess my body needed to relieve myself of that, stress and that toxins and those kinds of things. Well, that ended up on Saturday night that I went on a 37-hour cleanse. I didn't eat for 37 hours. I had to make sure I drank enough. I did take some good salt, the Celtic salt and that kind of stuff. So I did take some good minerals and some salts and stuff, and I did try to take some of my soluble vitamins. But I didn't eat anything for 37 hours because I needed to reset. I just heard intuitively my body just wanted to say, you know, I need to reset myself. I wanted to reset myself. And I didn't realize that I was going to do 37 hours, but I went through the next morning and then I had to do something and I didn't really eat until I wasn't going to eat until 1 o'clock. And then I'm like going, well, maybe I should just I was doing the radio on Sunday morning. I was like, I'll just eat after that. Well, I said, well, I've gotten this far. Why don't I do more? And I kept thinking every hour, what does my gut do? What does my digestive system do on every minute that I am doing, every hour on doing the fast, right? Well, the cells start reproducing. The tissues start. I go into ketosis. I go into we go into this story. And this is almost a metaphor for what we're going through right now, is that resetting, the reset of our lives. And our bodies are going to be feeling it, because we've gone through a lot. So we went through, and I'm saying that this whole year has been full of, how many times can you say resetting, 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 right? It's like everybody's saying that. But that's the thing about life. Every moment you can reset that button. Isn't that amazing? Every minute that you make a decision, you can push the reset button by having a conversation with people. I'm sorry that I said that. You can't take it back necessarily, so think about how you're saying it. But it's that moment where we can push that reset button. And I know for my husband that him and I finally was honest with him about how, honey, that I can really see us moving at some point in time. But honestly, right now, I don't want to deal with that because there's so many changes going on. And he doesn't understand what the planetary shifts do for me, to me, right? My body, my emotions. I try to stay as stable. And like I was telling him, even me working at the elementary school and being around kids that are sick all the time, that's even me standing up and being, I try to be as conscious as I can so I'm not getting their colds, right? So going forward and into our dance, that the reason why things are happening, you know, we are in this minute where we can push that reset button even easier than we did before. Because I can tell you, after having that conversation and my husband seeing that I was a little bit off, I'm going to call it off, and he's really starting to get nice about that. Like I call him a recovering narcissist. And people say, how can a narcissist recover? Well, I can tell you that, if they are wanting to change, they can change, but it's going to take them to change. Female, male, no legs, leggers, all leggers, doesn't matter what it is. That he actually apologized the next morning, thinking that he was negotiating things, like he never talked to me about moving to Montana, right? He just said, we're moving to Montana. And he didn't, and he was acting like we were doing it today, and he says, "I'm sorry that I gave you the impression that we were gonna do it today or tomorrow. We haven't even sold our house, we haven't even put it on the market. We haven't even thought about putting it on the market. We haven't even talked about that. Why would you think it would be today?" And I said, "Well, because the way that you were saying it, the way that you were doing it, the way that you were showing me things, it seemed like it was gonna get sooner and sooner and sooner no matter what." And he goes, "Oh." So remember, as you're walking forward, your actions are sometimes speaking louder than your words. And as you go forward with your actions speaking louder than words, that life can do healing. Because, like my husband always said, "Honey, you," I said, "you don't even like talking to me sometimes." And he goes, "No, but you showed me." And that's the thing is that people pay attention. People pay attention to who you are. And they may not tell you that, but they do. And that's where change can happen. I have people who appreciate me, and now they're starting to say that, because they say, "Natasha, you come into, let's say, my room, and I just get a breath of fresh air. I miss you when you're not there." And it's like, okay, so me being my stable self, which means that I'm on, and then when I get home, I have to remember to keep some for the other person in my house, right? So, remembering that we have these times and these changes, that things are happening, that it's going to stir us up. It's going to push our buttons. It's going to make us angry. Things are going to be, our outer world is going to be influencing our inner world. Excuse me. But how can you discern through those outer worlds? And that's the thing is that right now there's so much going on about the politics of life. That, and it doesn't matter what country you're in, that things are changing all the way around. And if you grab onto what is being said at that second in time and think that's going to be the way that the world is going to be, it can't. It can't be that way because there's too many other influences that are going on. There's too many other understandings that are going on. And I'm not pro this or pro that. I'm just saying that, you know, there's going to be things that are going to be said, and they're not always going to be the truth that happens because things haven't followed through all the way yet. They're not in the past. And time is changing. So, truly, what is the past? But they're not in the past. They're not in yesterday. They're not in the this morning type of past as I'm talking about. And so going into this, there's no wrong or right. There is. And I just got a hit, my girlfriend who, because of the storm, things didn't always work out with phones or that kind of stuff. That, she went back up to see about this place. And I got that sometimes you have to go back to a place to see if that's what you really want to do. So if you go back to have to make a decision, remembering you can always go and maybe check it out. Think about it in a different way. Go talk to the person who's in charge of that decision making moment. Whatever it is. And remembering that it's a journey of a conversation. Like me and my husband with moving. It's not a done conversation, but it's a moment where things have paused a little bit, slowed down a little bit, because I think he really realized how much that me moving to a place that I never thought I was going to move out of. Yeah, we may have to move out of this house someday. I'm not as stressed out about it as other people are, right? But life is happening, and that's the one thing that I always wanted to honor what my husband wanted to do. Him getting excited about moving, him getting excited about this, him getting excited. I wanted to honor him for that, but I'm grateful that he witnessed me and how stressful it was for me, that stress was on me. And I told him that I didn't want to take away his shine, but his shine got taken away because of my lower vibration with it. And that's the thing about life is that sometimes we're making decisions that affect others, and it either will make it a positive or a negative. who's to say that journey isn't done yet, right? So as we're going into this with Pluto going into Aquarius, that's going to be there for 20 years. And what does the sign of Aquarius? And this is where I want people to look up, do your own Googling, do your own notifications and that kind of stuff. Because the fact that things are happening with us and around us, that we have to take our own perception of it. So I don't want to tell you this is going to be like. I don't know what's going to be like, but I just know Pluto is the planet of outside endings and new beginnings. It's a slow moving planet. So when it goes into retrograde, it's for months. When it goes into, it takes 200 and some odd years to go through um, the whole planetary systems, like going from Aquarius to Capricorn to, so the next one will be Pisces, but that won't be for 20 years. So going into this, that it's moves so slowly that change is going to happen, but it's be careful of how we interact, because now with Pluto going into Aquarius, we went through the 9/11 portal of shifting and changing, and it was amazing how my phone, oh my gosh, my phone, even at 11:11, it was on 11%. I took a picture at it 11:11 at 11:11. And it was just amazing how all these synchronicities were going through. And I was really working on my language and how positive, because I knew that language is going to be very impactful from this day forward. So really be careful about how you are saying your journey. Um, like for me, my gut was feeling off. Okay. It was just feeling off. So I thought, okay, instead of thinking that I had this or that or this scenario or that scenario, I said, okay, let's repush it and go on a fast. I didn't go into the negative of it. I went into more the positive of it. How can I reset myself? How can I go myself? How can I help myself do better in the process? And like lately at night, my back has been breaking out. Okay, so then that's another thing. Where is it breaking out at? Because there's different parts of the body that represent different placement of different organs. And so I know that my kidneys, and I think my higher digestive system. So there's something that is going on that is happening at night. So that's after a whole day of integration of food. Do you see how I'm kind of negotiating this? I'm not necessarily thinking that it's a negative or a positive. It's like, oh, okay, let's do some investigation. So if you can, investigate things before you go into the oh crap moment, if you can, because life is happening around us for us. And I can tell you the synchronistic moments, if you're walking into it. I was on TikTok for a few minutes, just kind of doing my mind numbing thing for a little while. And because I post there regularly. And there's two readings that came up, that just plopped through. And I stayed on it for a little while. And those algorithms, the same person came up, and it was like a card reading about things that were going to change for me, or change. There was going to be changes going on, and it was going to be in the positive. Well, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it was interesting, the synchronistic of it, right? Synchronistic of it. And, going into this shift, and with Mercury going into retrograde, it's right after around Thanksgiving time. But this is that 3-week shadow going into it, that, this is and it's about computers. It's about technology. It's about communication. It's about, and it's kind of interesting that the phone, the wind was blowing and the phone systems went out, and some internets went out. And so it's going to be about communication and the structure. And we're used to having these things. And what happens if we don't have them anymore? What happens if we don't have this technology? And like Regan was going to be, this was Regan's week to be on this week. Well, sadly, he ended up getting the flu when he was over in Spain, and his phone wasn't working. And I was like, well, why isn't his phone working? Well, things weren't going through. And so I emailed him, and he says, yeah, I'm hoping to get my phone working soon. And I'm not going to be able to be on because I have a cough. And Regan, with his lungs, for some reason he's got that lung scenario going on. Well, that's about breathing, right? So that's about things. So going into this, remembering that there's different parts of our bodies that represent different things. So lungs are about breathing in your life. It's about shifting things. It's about knowing what we are. Digestive system is, am I digesting my life? No, I was not digesting well the movement of my life, moving to Idaho. I love Idaho. It's a beautiful country. There's beautiful country everywhere. I like where I'm at. I'm not into politics, but I like where I'm at. So, going into this, look into, and I know that about myself. I knew that, my digestive system being off, that I was not digesting my life very well. And I tried to work on that as much as I emotionally, physically, spiritually could. But still, the cortisol was going up, things were going up. So, going into this, think about these dances of your life, about how are things impacting you. Is it adding more stress? Is it adding more, is a story not something that you wanna hear? Are things happening not to the point where you want it? There's these things that are coming in that, we have these miracles that can happen. Just like for me, that, it's like that miracle of my husband, apologizing the next morning. Wow, what an amazing moment for us to move forward. So I'm going to ask you to be, if you can be in a very safe way, not the grocery store, safe way, and and with a safe person, try to be vulnerable if you can, and be as vulnerable as you can, because sometimes you can't step into the pit both with both feet. You have to maybe keep one foot out, right? So remembering as you're going forward that, as you do this, that, you're going to be in a place where you may have to be vulnerable to make the life changes that you're going to want to change, or help the people around you change the things that need to be changed. And I can tell you, practicing that vulnerability can be huge, because instead of sitting up in bed stewing about it, I said, "Open my mouth and let's have a conversation." I didn't say everything that I was thinking. That wasn't what it was meant to be, but I said something that was meant to happen. And so be really willing to be a little bit more vulnerable with yourself and to others as we go through these changes, because this next year we're walking into is going to be just as miraculous, with changes, shifts, knowings. And as we go forward into our life, there's going to be more truths that are going to be flying out here. There's going to be more understandings that are going to be flying. And we're not going to be able to know what is a truth and what isn't a truth. But you really have to come back to, do I want this down my throat? Do I want this in my head? Do I want this in my knowings? And as if you're watching on video here, and the tree behind me in my window is blowing around a little bit, we have to have that movement. We have to have the wind move us, metaphorically and for real, to help us be ourselves. And that's going to be the difference in the dimensions, is what is our personal perspective on it. What is our personal perspective on it? Because life is happening around us and for us, and it's not always, going to be comfortable. And I'm actually grateful that my husband pushed my buttons to move, because it really helped me to take my claws out of this house a little bit, right? Because Veronica said last show, you really are fastened to this house. Yes, I am. I love this house. In the 32 years I've been married, there's been many years I've loved this house more than my husband. There's been a couple times where I didn't think my husband was going to come home. It was his times when he was drinking and stuff, and I had to really think, could I stay in this home and do and work it? Could I mow the lawn? Could I do the things that I was doing? Can I do this? Could I do that? And I was thinking, yes, I could. It's like, it would be hard, it would be interesting, but I know I could. So I've been trying to figure out how to negotiate these decisions Would it be easier to move? I don't know. Would it be easier to stay? I don't know. I'm not there yet. The journey hasn't brought me to that point yet. And that's the thing is that sometimes when we stress out about these things, we're not there yet. We can tell our mind all it want we want. Would you stop thinking about it? Would you stop thinking about it? Would you just stop thinking about it, mind? It's not here yet. It's not here yet. But remembering that is part of the emotions that you're working through. Like I was asking my mind one time, why am I thinking these thoughts? And my mind said, well, you have these emotions that you're processing. I went, oh, okay. Can we process the emotions? So I can stop thinking about it, please? You know? And it was like I was talking things, and as I'm doing that, my liver is kind of saying, ow, ow. So I'm going to sit up straight better here. That things are happening around us and for us. So I'm going to make this as a segue right now because I said that I was going to channel Mikale. And Mikale wants to come through. Now, Mikale is a star being that is of the council members. And if you've ever heard of Bashar, well, he's in that same understanding as Bashar is. And with the same kind of knowledge of how our life is to be better and how to negotiate. And they have witnessed many lifetimes where different planets like ours have gone through a lot of these transformations. And so I love the wisdom that they can bring through. So I'm going to take a second here and come into my knowings and ask Mikhail to come through. And I wanted to let you know that if you see me channeling, I'm not a full channel. I'm still here a little bit. And I let them come through. And one thing that Mikhail said to me, I asked him, why is his language close to simplicity that it is like mine? And he said, because people need to hear the simplicity. They need to hear the simplicity, and working with your mind like we do, that it's nice to have that same understanding come through. Because then otherwise, if he was so far out there and then coming into my understandings, there would be a clash, I guess, is what he was saying. So I hope that makes more sense. Okay. So please know that if you don't believe I'm channeling, that's okay. If the words come through and they tap you in some way, that's what the whole picture is for. He's just a messenger, just like I am. Okay. I hope that's disclosure enough. So here we go. Okay, Bashar. Bashar. He actually came to me the other night. Okay, Mikhail. Hello, wonderful people of this world. You are coming into a story of who you are. And as you come into these stories, that life is going to be an interesting dance of your personal truths. So be aware that as your personal truths are being triggered into being awakened, your truths may not always like the story that is coming towards you. So be careful of when your personal truths are triggered and think about how can you negotiate this story of who you are and what you are. I love the example that this dear one gave about moving, that it was not in her truth yet. And I like the word yet because we are all moving into a new journey of who you are. So, being who you are and what you're doing, remember that the uniqueness of each person's journey is going to be that a unique journey through these shifts and changes. This big shift of Pluto as you call it, this outer planet, which is not the only planet that is on the outer side, but it's the one that you guys are triggering right now with, is that you are going to be coming into a new awareness of the Aquarian world. The Aquarian world here, as you go forward, has been the story of uniqueness and a breakthrough. Yes, breakthrough. There is going to be much breaking through in these next 20 years because it is time for your planet to shift up. It is not that you have not integrated in so much already, you have. But yet, at the same time, though, in these 20 years, you're going to see us beings come onto your planet and see us as we are. We are going to be uncloaking. That is going to be within the next 20 years that you are going to really notice how many star beings, as you call us, are going to be on your planet and are on your planet. You think that you're going to have problems with judgmentalness with whose skin is what color? Can you imagine another species is coming onto this planet and being on this planet without you knowing? So going into this, that be ready to set your judgment aside because the little triggers that you are being triggered with are practice for your judgmentalness. You may not know that, but that is what they are. So if you can think about what does your judgment do for you in the minute of where you're at. I will give an the example of this dear one here about her moving? Was she in judgment about her husband wanting to move? Yes, she was. She did not realize that until he took he took a different angle at it and stopped pushing. Her judgmentalness came back down. It was whispers that were whispering through. As simple as, and yes, I am picking on her mind right now, and I have been witnessing her as we are her new guides, that as she has been coming into this, she would ask, if you want less responsibility with this house, why are you wanting to move to 40 acres? Is that a judgment? Yes, it is. It is a simple one. It is a questionable one, but it is a one. And as she has given me permission to give these examples, be careful of the sneakiness of judgment because your bodies and your knowings are going through a lot of physical change right now so that you can come into your fruition of story of you and your body in the lifetimes that you are moving into. The lifetimes, yes, there is an S on that because you are going to know that this is not just the only life you are living soon. Soon may be another 20 years, though. It depends on your planet and who's ready for what. There are many that have this understanding already. And there are many that do not because they are not there. That is going to be the separation of worlds, as you call it, is that movement towards change and shift. Be honorable to you and your body and know that if you need to rest, rest because it is time to rest. It's okay if you need to do something, as you call it, on this planet. But it is time also to need to rest, need to eat in a simpler way, need to do these things that you are doing. There are needs for you to do things, yes, because it is time for you to do things that are simpler and no more knowings. Things have vibrations in them and for them to be where you need to be. Trust the story of you. You are in the midst of a great new beginning on this planet. Change is inevitable for you to do it. Things might hurt for a little bit, but remember, it is change is like the day to night and the night to day. Are you walking out the door or walking in the door? There are many times where change happens to you, but when change happens in the big way, like what is going to come into this United States, that many of you go into shock. Why? When we are in a moment of change, beautiful things have an opportunity to happen. The more negative thoughts, the more negative action. The more positive thoughts, the more positive action. Do you understand this? I am glad. Because as you go forward into your new knowings, that life is going to be beautiful on this planet. The Mother Earth is going to major shifts. There are going to be other things that are going to be happening with the weather. And this is part of the new awakening that is going to come is we're going to notice how much human action has been influencing the weather for a very long time. That is why we on this planet have lived in the oceans to protect it, to make it so that people cannot come in and ruin it. If you notice that when the military comes in to do some work in the ocean, it does not to last very long. We, as a beings, do not like how some people make ill choices with this planet. And that will be discerned through here soon. Do not be afraid. We are here in kindness, just like you are here in kindness too. But as on this planet, there are not always nice people. There will not always be nice beings. But at the same time, though, us clan of the star beings would like to bring you home some peace and tranquility for you. Believe in you and believe in your story. There is going to be no ill effects to you that I can foresee at this time, except for what your mind can grasp onto. Do not be afraid of change, my dear friends. It is going to be a well-oiled machine here soon. And know that it has been a well-oiled machine if you look in your past, as past is on this planet. Remember that us beings have been here on this planet for many, many million of years. And we have chosen you star beings to come to this planet to help take care and be with this planet as your souls have been wanting to experience this. As my soul has wanted to experience this in this knowing time now. Remember that as you go forward, that you are in the midst of miraculous times, ready for big shifts and changes. Your small voice has a loud voice when you speak together. Remember, it takes communication and trust and vulnerability, as this dear one said, to move into your new knowings. Step out of control and into partnership. Partnership, communication, new knowings can only be a strength for you. It is time for love, it's time for kindness, and it's time for uniqueness. You are all in the ability to do and shift and change as you go forward. I, Mikale, is being here with you to help spread the word of love and kindness. May love be with you as you go forward on this planet. And know that you are uniquely loved, each an individual one. Hmm. Wow. Thank you for being here and watching that. Oh, it's always amazing channeling a star being like that. That's way out there. Wow. Remember to swallow, Natasha. Um, um, I hope that his message came across well. Um, wow, I think that was a big one, if I remember some of what he said. Anybody would like, and I would like to know how you think about this world that we're in right now. And I so hope that these shows do bring awarenesses and give you something to bring into some positiveness because there's enough negativity out there for us all, right? So, who are you and what are you going to do about it, right? Who are you and what are you going to do about it? Well, all we can do is communicate. And I know today after the storm, we had 2 hour late start and, people were communicating. And even if one didn't hear from the boss, others of us made sure that there was communication that was going on. And that's the thing about life is that, you know, we only know what we know through communication. So remembering that even if you don't like something, try to communicate it with vulnerability if you can. I think he was talking about that too. That as you go forward, that, remembering that we all are part of the bigger picture on this planet. How can you treat it well? With your thoughts, with your actions, with your interactions, with your belief system. And, going into this, that, we all have a moment where life can happen for us and to us. Does anybody want a card reading? I'm at that last 10 minutes and I would like to do that for you. Today is the 20th and I forgot to vote today for my union and I do have a union meeting, so I need to get out of here soon. But yes, Veronica, you would like a card. Okay. Who would like to speak? The fairies would like to speak. This is this deck here. It's the fairies would like to speak today. Paula, yes, I would do that. Okay, so Veronica. Okay, Veronica. Okay, there's one more card that wants to come out for you, though. Woo! Okay, maybe a couple more cards. Okay, Veronica, here we go. So, the first card you got was marriage. So, the marriage card is the fairies join you in celebrating a wedded bliss. So, is your marriage changing up? There's possibility for this, but remembering our perception is going to be it, because it's time for you to do more research for information. Yes, keep boundaries, knowing what you live with. Do boundaries, do new knowings, do you know, it's a moment. So you need to do some information, do more information. You need more information about the situation. Look into it further before proceeding. So there's something that is going on that it's about, and maybe it's about retirement for you or something like that. But do more research. Is this time to do it? Don't assume that things are going to always be what you need to be, because it's who do you need to forgive? And look at this picture. It's not about, remember that forgiveness isn't about to say that it's all right, but it's about saying, I'll be okay. And I don't need to hold that knowing anymore. Um, uh, as you release old anger or um, resentment, you will find that your wishes will come true. So remembering that, like, I'm going to say that, in the first years of my marriage with an alcoholic, that, my husband did some things that were unforgivable. But I know that I love the man that is here now today. And I just know that I won't go down that unforgivable road that can happen. I stop it at the beginning of the road so that it cannot happen. But I move into what can have an opportunity to be. Because you're coming into a big moment of shifts and change. It might take springtime to do it. You deserve fully mind. You're desired, fully manifested as the flowers begin to bloom. So remembering when you see the blooms of flowers that you have a chance to have things manifest for you. Okay? So I hope that helped. So the first one was things are shifting and changing for you because you're doing more research and you're not jumping to conclusions, because you're actually moving forward instead of holding on to the past. And as we move into spring, things will brighten up for you more and more and more. But this is a journey from here to there too. Okay? Does that help? Jessica. Hi, Natasha. Hi, Jessica. I also I'd like one because today I felt off for me too. Yes. You always help me, my dear. I love you. I love you too, Veronica. And yes, Jessica, it was a day of myth. I feel like there's a lot of things that were moving and changing and shifting. And this windstorm that we had was pretty impactful. So when wind comes in, it's about stirring things up so things can move, right? So what needed to move? What was needing to shift and change into the story that we are? And so I was kind of feeling the impact of that after effect. Okay, this one's for Paula. Okay, you need one more card, Paula. Well, not one more. Couple more. Okay, so let go. As you surrender the need to control, your release energy rapidly attracts your desires. So let go. So, oh my gosh, girl, Paula, you have been in a moment of big change and shifts. And sometimes we have to sit and surrender in order to know that, okay, this is a jumping off point, because of the fact that that one wasn't yours. Say goodbye to the old and into the new. You're finished with one part of your life. Now a new and even better part is beginning. So as you walk through these holidays, you're going to notice that things are going to be shifting for you, because you've been pregnant with the idea of what you want, but now it's time to release so that you can receive what you're meant to receive. And this is not a pregnancy of a baby. It's a pregnancy of your life. It's a pregnancy of giving birth into a new knowing. So you too, as you go through this winter, I would really practice on releasing what you thought was going to happen and accept what can happen. Because you're going to have miraculous things come into once you surrender, trust, and accept that moment of your life. So blessed be to you in that journey there, Paula. I see things are shifting up. Perception, though, is going to be big for you. You got somebody coming into your life to help. There's somebody I can see somebody driving onto the reservation or onto the land around you, that it's like, who is that? Who is that person? And it's almost like they're coming back home again, but they have some understandings on how to help. Trust your discernment, trust your intuitions working with it though, because there could be a little bit of darkness with this scenario, but at the same time though, what can you work through in your darkness to benefit you? Ooh, ain't that a statement? What can you work through your darkness to benefit you? Ain't that a thing? Okay, Jessica, here comes your card. I'm not too sure on the timing, though, for both of you, Veronica and Paula. I just know that things are happening, and our perception is huge right now. Okay. Jessica, this is for you. Woo! You're not going to have... Can't make that up. Oh, okay. And here's another one for you. And let's see, there's one more, Jessica. Oh, it's that one. Okay, I know that you're going through some big shifts and changes, and I hope that things are working out for you. I'm not tapping in if you took that job or not, because it wasn't something that you were... I'm not too sure about things like that, but you've been going through some big changes and some big ideas, and so you're coming into your power, girl. Jessica, you're coming into your power. Good job. Admit your true feelings, my dear, to yourself, remembering that there is a balance of things. And when I come to this, I remember that time when your mom came to visit and you almost got triggered down that rabbit hole, but you really tried not to. And that's a good thing, because that's a good example of what this card represents is that moment. And yes, we talked about it, so it's not an intuitive thing. That as we go forward into this dance, that it's, admitting your true feelings can give you such a strength, because that's the vulnerability piece that I've been talking about too. Be honest with yourself. Only you know what it is that you truly desire. So when you're making a decision, you got to go back down to what is your truth. If you need to, write down truths. If you need to discern this through, write down some truths. This is a true list. This is a true list. This is a true list. If I stay in this job, if I leave this job, if I go to another job, what are the truths that come out? And then you can discern through, because the fact, and this card came up again, flower power, which is upside down, but that is spend some time outside. So remembering that when we are in stressful times, that physical movement can be very helpful. Okay. And then this card came out again. Who do we need to forgive? Boy, that's a theme, isn't that? So remembering that forgiveness is not, it's not about saying that what you did is okay, but it's about saying that I'm going to be okay. And you can have boundaries with things that are unforgivable and say that you're not going down that road again, but you can live a life around that. You can be so... you can have joyful moments around unforgivable moments. And, life is full of unforgivable moments. And even things that are hard to forgive. It's like you think something's going to happen and it falls through. You think life is going to do this. You keep hearing that something's going to happen like this, and it doesn't happen. Because there's something that, that's one thing that I really have to look at is, what is my personal resistance? And, as my husband was talking about moving, I was really looking into, why am I resistant to this? Why am I so resistant to this moment? And I would ask that question. So if things aren't happening for you, check into, where are you resistant to? What part of this are you resistant to? And I can tell you that I just had a bunch of cards that fell out. So this is a reading for everybody. because it's time to say hello to the old, say goodbye to the new old and into the new, because our feminine power is going to come into this world pretty strongly, because there's going to be emotional healing, but it's all about perspective, right? Because there's opportunity with great communication, because the masculine part of us, the sons of our children, the sons of our lives, the boys of our life are going to start getting more and more healed, because a lot of our men that are around us have very hurt boys inside of them. And so that is going to start being healed more and more, because we're all spiritual teachers, but we're not fully into our power yet. We're not into our full knowing yet, because we haven't done all our research. We haven't gotten all the answers yet. We haven't gotten done with the journey yet. We're still in the journey. Okay? Can't make that stuff up, can I? Well, I hope that helped everybody. And please remember that as you go forward, life is happening. I will be on next week, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And I probably will be talking a little bit more about giving thanks. And I want to really honor the deciduous people, because I don't think they really got the full story of what Thanksgiving truly isn't what we know. So may blessings be with you, and remembering that vulnerability can be a big strength when you use it well and with the right people and ourselves. We have to be vulnerable with ourselves first. Wait a minute, that hurt. Ouch. Okay, I can do this. We're coming into miraculous times, so look at synchronicities to help you make decisions. Synchronistic moments can really be huge. Like my friend, she got a letter. She checked that place out, didn't like it, went up to this other place, found out that there's a place that was open. So see where things are pushing. I'm trying to give information without giving too much information, but I just wanted to give an example about how can there be blessings in the moments if you really think about what can you have, and then take your foot off the gas pedal, because we're in miraculous times. But pushing right now is not the time, but walking forward and saying, I am here and available to do it is. Thank you, Paula, for blessings for everyone. And remember, everybody's a miracle as you walk it. I'm Natasha Venter. Please like and share. If you know of somebody who could listen to this, please share it. I hope Mikale's information was very palatable for you, for where we're going to be coming into, I guess. I don't know. Blessings, everyone. And if you want to listen to this later on podcast, I am on most podcast platforms. Bye now.